Welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of FountainCast, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce. I am Betsy LaVoie, your co-host today with Kristin Milashoski from the Fountain Hills Chamber. Today we have with us Dr. Sally Goldberg, and we're speaking of her book, one of many books, but we're focusing on baby games, baby learning games, fun baby learning games. So Dr. Sally, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be doing this. This is the book, the most recent, the 7th in a row, and I was explaining here before that one grew out of the next. And so there's 2 more to come up because they're going to complete the whole package. So,
Sally, before you go further, when do the next 2 come out?
I'm working on both, so I don't have that information. But
that's exciting.
Very
exciting.
Both of them.
Okay, awesome.
And they've all been more or less planned for many years.
Okay, very good.
So this one is everybody's handbook. So the beauty of this is it's not something you have to read through and, oh, how am I going to learn that? This is designed to be bite-sized information that every parent from birth, who has a child from birth to age 3 wants to know, are asking all the time, and yet it's bite-sized. So,
awesome.
There's 3 years. So it starts with birth to 1 year. 3 years, look at that. 1 page, that's it. Now I know what's going on the first year. And then you move on to the first 3 months. So from birth to 3, you have 8 stages. Almost nobody knows that. You think birth to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, we're done. So everything
that's the year that the baby grows the fastest, right? There, as a human being, right? Don't we evolve and grow and change the most that first year of life?
Absolutely. The way it turns out, the brain is built fully grown, fully formed when the baby is born. But then what's important are the experiences, because those make the connections in the brain that build who you are. Mm-hmm. So let's say 9 months to 12 months, the 3rd section in here, and all this is laid out so easily so you know exactly what to find. Birth to 1 year we showed, then there's a little bit about birth to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, just a little snippet here in the book. So suppose you find out from this book that from 9 to 12 months, the baby is starting to crawl and move around. And then you find out that's extremely important because they do a lot of learning from going to different places. So the progress from birth to 3 months newborn is being welcomed into the world. From 3 to 6 months, learning about the world, but not too mobile yet. So you need to be the one to keep bringing the information, don't stop. And then 6 to 9 months, now they can clap hands, manipulate objects. So they can't do that unless there's someone there to put the objects in their hands. So it's an enormous amount of parenting that is so, so important. And the key word then is responsive. So easy, but you can't do that if you're not there.
So do you find that new moms may be a little overwhelmed, especially in that 0 to 3 month time frame, because they're also not sleeping, right? A lot of times they're not sleeping very much, and that if they're nursing, they're up a lot more than if they're not nursing. And so how do you overcome that in your workbook or handbook so that they can incorporate little baby games even if they're sleep deprived, even if they're still learning how to be a new mom?
That is so, so, so good, because right in the beginning it explains what's called part 1. P-A-R-T. Play, act natural, respond, that's the big key word, talk, and touch. So that's it. Those come naturally.
Sure.
And then this just tells you what's going on so you can be around to do it.
Right.
It's not like a magical thing.
Right.
We kind of built up technology to be, you must say this or do this. Oh, no. You just really need to be there and it all comes naturally. But being there is not so easy.
Right.
We didn't anticipate that people have to go to work and they have other people taking care, and there's a lot of challenges, very, very, very hard. That's the next book coming up, how to cope with what needs to be done within modern life. Modern life threw a curve.
Right.
So modern life put these comfortable little infant seats around that everybody could carry them, but the most important thing is holding them. And so, oh dear, they're so comfortable because then they're not moving. And so the only help that it could be is if you know that certain ages and stages are very important to do certain things, then you will do them.
Right.
So if you know that hugging, holding, having places to move, whatever it is, and you can do that instead of using a sling, which detaches the baby, then you do that. So you make informed decisions all along just by knowing what optimally is taking place.
Right, right.
Yeah. I like that from, I think you said 3 to 6 months, you are bringing the world to them.
Bringing the
You
world
know,
to them.
and then, yes, and then they slowly learn to discover on their own, but I never really got to reach them. But yes, yeah, you do bring it to them and you show them things and the rattles and the different things that, you know, to intrigue them and get their attention.
And it's so natural. That's what's so wonderful about it.
Right.
So it's not teaching you to do anything different than you would do, but just helping you to focus on what's going on.
And what to focus on during which stage.
Yeah.
That's what's great.
What to focus on during which stage.
Would you like to share an example of one of your baby games from here?
I would love to, because they're so important.
Okay.
Okay, you probably would like to know, how in the world do I know this? And a picture is worth 1,000 words. This is the very, very beginning. Many years ago, when I had my first baby, I was very interested in helping her get a head start because she was born with a delay. Delays are no good. We want to make up for a delay, so I had to learn everything about how to do that and really make it up. So it was very overwhelming, and I, of course, did what any other mother would do, read all there was to read, and there was very little. I would buy all there was to buy, and there was very little. This is a long time ago. And then I would make whatever it was that I learned about. So one day, I'm shopping for my house for a lamp. And I went into a store called Luminaire, and it was a Finnish furniture store. And so I walked in the door looking around at lights so that I could find a standing lamp for my house. And all of a sudden, in the back of the room, I saw these rounded shelves. And on the rounded shelves, in this Finnish furniture store that had lights all over the place, it said, educational toys for babies.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, what the heck is an educational toy? Who's educating a baby? Right? So I walked up to the shelves, and the nice salesperson said to me what they said in those days, can I help you? Now we do how may I help you, but that was can I help you? And I said, yes. I said, what is an educational toy for a baby? And he said, oh. And he took this exact piece off the shelf, and he said, this is an educational rattle. Educational rattle, you know, we knew about rattles. Educational rattle. So he said, yes. He said, every other rattle you can buy, like I just showed you, the baby can't see what makes the noise. This one, the baby can see it.
Oh, interesting.
And I said, wow, I don't want my baby to miss that. I'll take it. So then I said, do you have anything else? He said, yes. And he took this down off the shelf. And he said, this is a crib gym. And he said, you tie this across the crib. And he said, you pull down on the red ball and the green goes up. But you pull down on the green ball, the red ball goes up. And he said, it teaches cause and effect. And I had a 3-month-old baby. Of course, I said, well, I don't want my baby to miss that. And I said, okay. And then I said, do you have anything else? And he said, yes. He had 3 things. And this is not an original. The original you can see would have come in wooden colors and all that. This is one that I could find to give the idea. He said, this is even simpler. He said, for this, you tie this across the crib, and this helps the baby focus. And I thought, I don't want my baby to miss that.
You were a good buyer that day.
Took all the days, bought the standing lamp, walked out the door going in a different direction. I got a lesson that everything that is in contact with the baby is important, is formative.
Right.
So this translates into modern times because now I advocate that parents have information, this kind of information, so that they know what's going on and they can provide an enriched learning environment in an easy, simple, knowledgeable way. And so here now, bringing you up to modern times, tells us about the magic of daily life. So this is not only the magic for babies, this is everybody's magic. That it happens in 5 areas for all of us. We're always learning, we're always growing, we're always improving. Everything, every day, every experience goes in is important. And so that's why I say if we are a product of our experiences, please, please, please try to make them as good as they possibly can.
Right.
So younger ones are even more important, ours are important too. And while most people were aware of cognitive, motor, social, language, and self-esteem as all the ways that we grow, I learned through education that they're connected in a different way. That we do cognitive things, we do motor things, but they're connected to cognitive. We do social things, they're connected to motor and cognitive. They're all connected together in a growing experience. They're all important. Language comes through all of them. And then the whole package builds self-esteem. And self-esteem is what we're all about. And self-esteem is what's so critical, critical, critical for our young people. And so there are all of these capabilities build it, and then there are ways to build self-esteem all by itself. So another book, the second one is the Self-Esteem Builder book, which is so important for every young person.
And is it still focused on 0 to 3? The self-esteem?
0 to 5.
0 to 5.
The foundation years.
Okay.
Because once that foundation is in, it stays.
Right.
And so what we have now is an outgrowth of the original purpose. So here's all the original purpose of the book, which is as far as I had gotten in my own growth and development. Every baby needs the finest start possible. Every parent should know how to provide it, and it's all here.
And also caregivers, wouldn't you agree? So even like daycare centers, if the parent isn't the one with them for 8 hours a day, this is valuable information for daycare centers and preschools.
This is amazing for daycare centers, for the caregivers to know about bonding and attachment, and also the bonding and attachment of the parent. So you can still go to daycare and you can still have people take care of you, but the parent is it. That there is no replacement for the bonding and attachment. Even if you send your child away, you are the one who knows the best.
Sure.
I call them doctor's mom and dad. Anybody can be your helper, but they're not the real parent, which comes with love. It just comes with love. You can be trained as a child caregiver, but the secret ingredient is love. And so that the caregiver needs to know that too.
Right.
To bring that to the attention of the parent, that they have a wonderful part to play. And it's a wonderful part. Part 1, play, act natural, respond, touch, and talk. What's better than that?
Right.
Nothing.
Right. And this graphic here reminds me of you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with the most or you spend the most time with, right?
Yes.
We often hear that later in life as adults, I think. But it's the same for our children and our babies. The 5 people they spend the most time with, are they loving? Are they interacting with them, nurturing them.
Or the bringing the world to them.
Yes, yeah. The same is true when they're little, not just when they grow up.
I created the idea that the family is the training ground for all future relationships. So the family has old people, young people, loud people, soft people, but they also have love. It just comes that way. They're protective, they're safe. So they are a huge part of the building. And then once you have that early experience, then you're equipped to branch out with them. So now you come to the best part, even if you thought that was good. So back in the late 90s, there was a study. This is it right here. This is what put early parenting on the map. Not me. This is what did it. Study. Millions of U.S. kids face legacy of impairment. Okay, so what happened? They found out that the first 3 years of life, not me, the report said, lay the foundation for all that follows. Ideally, this learning time is spent with adults who offer, and here are the 5 things, never changed yet: nurturing love, protection, guidance, stimulation, and support. Instead, 90s now, infants and toddlers are society's most neglected age group. 1 in 4 lives in poverty and in a single parent family. 1 in 3 abused children as a baby, less than a year old, the study said. Okay, this rocked the universe at that time. What? How could that be? And so President Clinton responded, and he held a conference, which I was lucky enough to attend. And he says, here what he said, the president, surrounded by researchers and child care experts in the East Room, compared the growing understanding, this is kind of funny, of how parents can nurture babies' intellectual and emotional growth. He compared it to space exploration. This may be the most exciting and important exploration of all, he said. In opening remarks of the day, Hillary Clinton said, it may seem odd to hold a conference here at the White House devoted to talking about the baby talk, but that discussion has never been more important. And then, what's the deal here? Songs, stories, talking, singing, reading, what held the magic?
So in reality though, Dr. Sally, if 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 is in a neglectful situation, those families are not the ones who are going to be seeking the right information, right? So how can that underserved population be helped? They're not seeking to improve, I would say, based on their situation.
So,
how do we reach those people?
Right.
So, in this time, when I was a professor of education at the conference that Bill Clinton led, so I explained to him in letters, one on November 18th, 1997, one on December 27th, and then his answer on January 27th. And the request was that we provide parent education for all parents as soon as their babies are born and even before, so that your concern and question, which is relevant today and why this is so important, would never ever happen. If these are knowledgeable people about what to do, they can do it. There isn't any mother in the world who has a baby, any of those babies in the isolates that we see, that don't have a loving parent who wants to do the best they can. They just can't. And so President Clinton thanked me, and that was the idea that I presented over and over. And he says, "Dear Sally, thank you so much for the copy of Parent Involvement Begins at Birth." one on the end,
This one here?
that explains the entire thing. It was so kind of you to share your work with Hillary and me. We appreciate your thoughtfulness and support. Glad you were able to participate in the conference. I will keep your suggestions in mind as we continue to address the important child care issues facing America's working families. And we actually got to the point where he put it in his State of the Union address.
Wow.
Yes, that they were, the next thing up was a conference not only on education, but families. That
But then it needs to go, I'm sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
interrupt, so you're inspiring me. So then it needs to go through, for Arizona, access, and it needs to go through insurance, because it'll never get to the population who truly needs it unless it gets through that governmental body.
Like the idea that's been expressed in all of these notes is when you instead of registering your child in school at age 5, you register yourself as a parent as soon as the baby is born or even before, to get now that we have the knowledge in simple terms. 25 activities are suggested for each of those little stages, and they're not rocket science.
Yeah.
They are hold, touch, and the way Kristin said, they are okay. 3 to 6, birth to 3, the newborn is over. Start now bringing things.
Right.
So if you don't do that and the baby's left alone, there's many babies now, when I greet them in the street, not too many are even in the streets anymore, don't even smile. They're straight against those infant seats. They've been in there too long without moving, without interacting. Those are just simple, basic, the baby takes care of itself. I always said, did anyone teach you how to play? You never teach them how to play. You had to play when you were young. Right. So do they. They know exactly what to do. But we can set up the environment so that we can do that. So I think
I almost feel like it should be a little kit. You know how they send you home with a book and a hat? Or I almost feel like
That
it should be a little booklet in the go-home bag.
Right.
Here's what should be,
Right.
here's your guideline, yes, for your baby. How to engage with them for the first year, for the first 3 years.
And so loving, so friendly, but clear. So 5 activities for each of those areas and each of those stages. And I say, oh, I didn't know that. So now talking about, I didn't know that. Did you know that? Feeding the baby is the first activity, and it's bonding and attachment. And I actually traced the beginning of the bottle, and then, you're not gonna like this word, but the beginning of autism, which is a brain inserted condition, and detachment is part of it. So while the bottle was wonderful, there was nothing wrong with helping parents working, however it was created. It was before my time that it was created, but it was created. But as you all know, it generated into many different forms. So while it was supposed to be just a substitute for the nursing position and the attachment that goes along with it, and a good way to think about that is food is attaching. Like whenever you meet your buddies and friends, you say, well, let's go to the neighborhood coffee shop, or let's go out for lunch.
Sure, it's very social. Yes.
It's built into, you break bread together.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're doing. You're breaking bread together. And so now, because of modern times, and that's the other book that's so important, well, even if you have your baby here, if you have your cell phone here, and you have the TV there, and we do, it's not that we don't, and we do, but we need to know that that's every minute of that you're missing out on the bonding and attachment time. And so this now, where's the last picture of that? It's a modern times picture that's a little bit overwhelming, but right out of the newspaper, here's the color one, right? Let's see. This is a modern one, that was a modern, there we go. This is from the Arizona Republic. I cut it out and I said, oh, that says it all, okay? And this is like happy news. This is a tortilla flat trek. Okay. Stephen and Brittany Wilson feed their daughter. I mean, this is like happy news. Their daughter Nellie in front of the Superstition restaurant and saloon in Tortilla Flat. Okay, wow, look at them enjoying their holiday.
Yes.
But not unbeknownst to them, who's the baby bonding with? You absolutely can't tell who's doing what. So, and this is common. Obviously, it's common. Nobody noticed it, tell that mom to hug that baby in her arms and bond. So, anyway, this is modern times, and if she had more knowledge that she was going to be feeding her baby in her arms and building attachment, she wouldn't do that.
Right.
So that's really what that's all about.
So when a woman is pregnant, almost every woman that I've ever met, when they first are pregnant, they go home with that book, 9 Things, or What to Expect in the First 9 Months,
Came
right?
to my mind too.
Yeah, so everyone has that book. So it seems, from all the information you've shared, that every new mom should then go home with this book. Like, it needs to be that prevalent, right? And so that's why we're doing this podcast, so that perhaps we can help that happen, right?
Right.
Truly.
And so this is the way to end. This is like super important, because we said what you said. Who needs this the most? Who needs this the most? Look at this. This I collected these way back because I knew what was happening. 60-month-old tossed 8 floors to his death. It says, a distraught and sleepless mother hurled this. We don't want to read it. Okay. But anyway, what it really says is the baby just wanted to be held, and she had no idea, and she was at her wit's end, and that happened. But we don't want those things to happen,
Right.
Because we want an educated mother to go home with a packet, like
Right.
you said. And so what this comes from is that study that I said. Okay, now this is the shocking part about the study. This was the Carnegie Commission multi-million-dollar study. They weren't studying early childhood. They were studying crime and violence. This is why the mission of today, and you know how much of it we have. And they studied every possible layer of influence, like teen life, adult life, the prison system, anything that went on in these people's lives who committed crimes. And they found nothing. They found nothing. The only thing they found was their early childhood in the first 3 years was lacking those 5 things: nurturing, love, protection, guidance, support, and stimulation. That the whole book, the whole study that shocked the nation, that put Bill Clinton into action and Hillary, we have to do something. And then I came in with, this is exactly what you said, this has to be a school system thing where every parent has to be educated so we can save the crime and violence.
Right.
Nothing happened. Bill Clinton was never able to initiate, beyond his control, that conference on the family and the brain, and now we need to do it, what you said.
Right.
We need to get
It's like the answer to world peace, Dr.
Yes.
Sally. I know being dramatic, but it really is. It truly is.
I'm glad that you said that.
Dr. Sally is the answer to world peace.
It's the answer to world peace.
Yeah.
That it begins with taking care of yourself, your family, your community, your city, your state, your country, your world.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we can do it.
Yes.
So yes, it's
Very inspiring.
Yes.
So glad. So glad. I'm really happy for this opportunity. The materials are simple. This book,
This one here?
the Toys, Baby and Toddler Learning Fund is all about this. It's in your house. This is from the oranges. This is from the coleslaw. This is colored paper. You have the colors. They like to play with texture, plastic containers, taking them in and out. Nothing costs a penny. This is all explained in that book. Nothing costs a penny, and the excitement of making your own and creating them in your own way is much more fun than buying more and then, oh, they got bored and buying more.
Right.
And a little secret about and there's a lot of secrets in that book, but rotating toys. What better way to do it than 1 week is red, another week is green, another is yellow, another is blue.
That's a great tip. Right from the bat. Yes.
It's a great tip. It works in so many ways. It works for cleanup because you can put the red things in the right place, and the green. It works for sorting. It works for education. It works for texture. So these are the kinds of things that I've explored over the years, and I'm so happy that I could explain that, where this comes from, where these problems later on come from. In that study, it tells us the first 3 years, let's do what we can,
Right. Yeah.
right, to make it go right.
Yes.
So I'm very happy to share that.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Dr. Sally. I know that Kristin and I had a whole list of questions, but I think you answered them. This was lovely. This was wonderful. And we encourage everyone, where can they purchase your book? Besides the Chamber of Commerce gift shop, where else can they purchase
The
it?
best is Amazon.
Okay,
Easy, simple, be there the next day.
okay.
Can't beat that.
So in the description, there'll be a link so that you can purchase the book directly and share with all of the other parents that you know. We can solve world peace together with Dr. Sally. Thank you so very much. Thank you for...
Thank you, Dr. Sally.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for watching our episode today. Please like, comment, and share, and have a wonderful, wonderful first 3 years with your baby.
I love that.